Since its founding in 1978, Pixar has become a household name, synonymous with phenomenal animated films. They rose to prominence in the late 1990s and the early 2000s by pioneering CGI animated movies, which offered audiences an alternative to the wave of hand-drawn films that had emerged to ride the coattails of the Disney Renaissance. They also told surprisingly mature stories, ensuring that their films could be enjoyed by people of all ages and fighting against the stigma that animation is just for kids. Pixar has sadly fallen from grace in recent years, but there is no denying that its early years towards the release of some of the greatest animated movies of all time. Nearly every Pixar film is worth seeing at least once, but some are obviously a higher priority due to their characters, morals, and creative premises. Welcome to Popcorn Program, and here is our list of the 10 most essential Pixar movies of all time. Pop pop! In number 10 we are Finding Nemo from 2003, directed by Andrew Stanton and Lee Unkrich. After losing his wife and all but one of their children, Marlin the clownfish, voiced by Albert Brooks, becomes overprotective of his son, Nemo, voiced by Alexander Gould. One day, while rebelling against his father, Nemo is snatched up by a human diver who intends to give him as a gift to his niece. As Nemo works with a group of tankfish to escape this fate, Marlin teams up with a forgetful regal blue tank named Dory, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, to cross the ocean and to rescue his son. Finding Nemo transported audiences to a fully realised underwater world that encapsulates everything beautiful and terrifying about the ocean in equal measure. The reef that Marlin and Nemo live in is vibrant in terms of colour and diversity of sea life, but the further away from home that Marlin travels, the more colours vanish until he is confronted by vast open spaces pocketed with dark trenches hiding all sorts of dangers. This ever-shifting landscape is the perfect set piece for a story about trust, surprisingly aimed more at parents watching than the kids. The character of Dory is also one of Pixar's most beloved sidekicks, thanks to the infectious levels of joy that DeGeneres gives her, which led to Dory starring in the sequel Finding Dory. In number 9 we have Monsters Inc. from 2001, directed by Pete Docter, Lee Unkrich and David Silverman. An alternate world of monsters uses special doors to enter the human world and scare human children to use their screams as power sources. The greatest scare team is the duo of James P. Sullivan, voiced by John Goodman, and Mike Wazowski, voiced by Billy Crystal, who are set to surpass their company's scare record. However, the sudden arrival of a human child threatens to throw the monster world into chaos, and leads the two to uncover a horrible conspiracy. Monsters Inc. is full of meticulously crafted details that go into making the monster world feel like a believable society, oozing with creative potential. Its themes range from exposing the evils of capitalism to deconstructing the myth of the other, done beautifully through Sully's bond with the little girl who he names Boo, or Mary Gibbs. Mike and Sully also have a wonderful friendship, with Sully's laid-back and friendly disposition perfectly complementing Mike's massive ego and cynicism. In number 8 we have Ratatouille from 2007, directed by Brad Bird. Remy, voiced by Patton Oswalt, is a young rat who longs to be a chef, despite the warnings from his father Django, voiced by Brian Dennehy, that humans will never accept him. After being separated from his colony during a hasty evacuation, Remy makes his way to the restaurant founded by his idol, the late Auguste Cousteau, voiced by Brad Garrett, now run by his sous chef Skinner, voiced by Sir Ian Holm. Remy meets a garbage boy named Alfredo Linguini, voiced by Lou Romano, who catches him fixing a soup Linguini almost ruined, and the two team up to become the greatest chef in Paris. Ratatouille is one of Pixar's most mature films, thanks to its inspirational message about challenging preconceptions. Remy's status as a rat trying to make it into the human world applies to all walks of life, and the concerns brought up by Django regarding human-rat conflicts are harsh but not unfounded, and reflect how difficult it is to change societal norms in real life. The film maintains an overall positive morale through Gusteau's claim that anyone can cook, which is beautifully explained during the climax by food critic Anton Ego, voiced by Peter O'Toole, easily one of Pixar's best side characters and antagonists. In number 7 we have The Incredibles from 2004, directed by Brad Bird. Robert Parr, voiced by Craig T. Nelson, and his wife Helen, voiced by Holly Hunter, used to be Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, two of the world's most famous superheroes, until public outcry forced all superheroes into retirement. Though the family has expanded to include 3 children, each of whom have their own superpowers, Bob longs to relive the glory days and help people. He gets his chance when a mysterious woman named Mirage, voiced by Elizabeth Pena, recruits his help to stopping a rampaging robot, and in doing so stumbles upon a hidden plot that threatens all superheroes. The Incredibles is often ranked among the greatest superhero films thanks to how cleverly it both embraces and plays with classic superhero tropes. These include thoughtful looks at how difficult it would be for a superhero to adjust to civilian life, to humorous arguments about the impracticality of capes. The character writing is also phenomenal. Each member of the Parr family, barring the infant Jack-Jack, is given a fully realised personality that makes him feel realistic and empathetic, which makes it all the more satisfying when they come together and complement their powers as a superhero team. In number 6 we have Inside Out from 2015, directed by Pete Docter. Within the mind of a young girl named Riley, voiced by Caitlin Diaz, are the personifications of her emotions. They are joy, voiced by Amy Poehler, sadness, voiced by Phyllis Smith, anger, voiced by Louis Black, fear, voiced by Bill Hader, and disgust, voiced by Mindy Kaling. When Riley's family moves from Minnesota to San Francisco, the stress causes Riley to cry in front of a new class, creating a sad core memory. Joy attempts to get rid of it, but in the process shoots herself, sadness, and all of Riley's core memories out of headquarters, causing Riley to begin slipping into a depression. Inside Out takes the abstract concepts of emotions and explains them in easy-to-digest ways through creative imagery and simple but likable characters. The major theme on display is demonstrating the importance of sadness, since it allows us to develop empathy and work through our complex emotions. The film also doesn't shy away from the hard truth that as we age, part of ourselves are lost, but new experiences will fill the gaps and shape who we become. In number 5 we have Toy Story from 1995, directed by John Lasseter. Woody, voiced by Tom Hanks, is a cowboy doll who keeps order amongst the toys owned by a young boy named Andy, voiced by John Morris, as his family prepares to move houses. During Andy's surprise birthday party, he receives a new toy called Buzz Lightyear, voiced by Tim Allen, who thinks that he is a real-life space ranger. As time goes on, Woody finds himself being sublimated by Buzz as Andy's favourite toy, and his attempts to regain his spot see him and Buzz set on a mutually eye-opening adventure. Toy Story is one of the most important animated films of all time on account of being the first fully CGI animated film, and though its animation is understandably dated by today's eyes, it remains beloved thanks to its universal story and beloved characters. Woody and Buzz's story captures life in all of its complexities, as the two come to terms with the inevitable nature of change, question their own identities and their own purposes, and realise the importance of friendship and loyalty. These are universal themes that resonate across generations, told through the use of clever jokes, emotional heartbreak, and a gaggle of side characters that capture the audience's love despite limited screen time. In number 4 we have Toy Story 2 from 1999, directed by John Lasseter, Ash Brannon, and Lee Unkrich. When Andy accidentally rips Woody's arms, he is placed on the shelf and begins to fear that he might be thrown away. During a yard sale, Woody rescues a penguin toy named Wheezy, voiced by Joe Ranft, but gets snatched up by toy collector Al McWiggin, voiced by Wayne Knight. While Buzz leads the rest of the toys on a rescue mission, Woody meets fellow cowboy toys Jessie, voiced by Joan Cusack, Bullseye, and Stinky Pete, voiced by Kelsey Grammer, all of whom are collector's items that Al plans to sell to a museum in Tokyo. Toy Story 2 is one of the rare sequels that manages to surpass the original in almost every single way. Along with smoother animations, the film gives us side characters from the first film such as Rex, voiced by Wallace Shawn, and Mr. Potato-Head, voiced by Don Rickles, active roles in the plot that lead to a slew of hilarious jokes. What makes the film truly special is its story, which explores the sad truth about relationships. Eventually, every relationship, no matter how strong, will come to an end, but it's better to make the most of these beautiful moments than to close yourself off from the world to avoid the pain of loss. In number 3, we have Toy Story 3 from 2010, directed by Lee Unkrich. As Andy prepares to go to college with Woody, the rest of his toys are accidentally put out with the trash instead of into the attic for storage. Feeling absolutely heartbroken, they decide to jump into a donation box bound to Sunnyside Daycare, with Woody tagging along to explain the truth. Upon arriving, they find that Sunnyside is controlled by Lotso Hugging Bear, voiced by Ned Beatty, who subjects the toys to be roughly handled by the younger children in the Caterpillar Room. Toy Story 3 is the high note that the franchise really should have ended on. Continuing with the profound messages of the previous films, this one shows viewers that it is okay to let go, especially as we get older and move on to new stages of our lives. The ending is one of the most beautiful and poignant endings to any Pixar film, and any film just in general, and Toy Story 3 is currently the most recent animated movie to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. That's not just the animated Best Film, that is just Best Picture in general. In number 2, we have Up from 2009, directed by Pete Docter and Bob Peterson. After accidentally injuring a construction worker who damaged his mailbox, Carl Fredricksen, voiced by Ed Asner, is forced by the court to leave his home. However, he chooses to fulfill a promise to his late wife Ellie and uses hundreds of thousands of balloons to move the house to Paradise Falls in South America. A young Boy Scout named Russell, voiced by Jordan Nagai, accidentally ends up tagging along. The journey to the falls proves more difficult than anticipated when Carl and Russell stumble upon an aged explorer obsessed with retrieving a rare bird to the point of killing anyone who gets in his way. Up is the second animated film nominated for Best Picture and remains one of Pixar's most emotional movies. Audiences and critics fell in love with the first 10 minutes, which showed the beautiful story of Carl and Ellie's lives from childhood all until the point of her death without any dialogue. The rest of the film maintains that strong emotional core, with Carl and Russell developing a strong surrogate father-son relationship and a universal message about how to process grief. And number 1, we have WALL-E from 2008, directed by Andrew Stanton. When the Earth becomes too polluted for humanity to live on, they go into space while legions of robots work to clean up the mess. Centuries later, only one little robot, WALL-E, voiced by Ben Burt, is still functional by salvaging parts from other ruined robots and spending his time watching old movies and collecting trinkets from the humans. One day, a robot probe called Eva, voiced by Listen Knight, comes to Earth and WALL-E is smitten by her. When he shows him a living seedling that he found, Eva takes the plant and WALL-E back to the spaceship the Axiom, where the plant can be used to bring humanity back to Earth for recolonization, or so you think. WALL-E is the crowning achievement of Pixar's character animation. The robot characters have minimalist dialogue and facial features, yet audiences still fall in love with WALL-E's playful personality and the sweet romance between him and Eve, thanks to how the animators use small but poignant adjustments to express emotion. The story is also a poignant tale that emphasizes the importance of protecting the environment and warns of the dangers of letting technology take over our lives, which feels more relevant than ever following the rise of AI. Fans of really good storytelling owe it to themselves to see WALL-E at least once and immerse themselves in its stellar themes and hopeful message that reminds us it's never too late to change and improve. And there you have it, there is our list. So what do you think? What is the most essential Pixar movie of all time? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are new around here. That's all for now, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Pop pop!